What's up, everybody? I want to tell you about Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's one of the easiest ways to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting Anchor on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download Anchor, the app, or go to anchor.fm to get started. And, you know, I'm a veteran, so let's hear some more military cadences. What's up, family? Well, if you have not heard, the Queen is dead. Elizabeth has passed away as of today, September 8th, 2022. That's a spoiler alert in life if you guys did not know. But with that being said, may she rest in peace. She lived a nice 96 years. That was a long life. A long life of being rich. How awesome is that? But and not even rich, royalty. Jeez Louise. Like, I wonder if there is a thing as reincarnation, what do you come back as when you've had such a nice, privileged life? That's the thing that make you go home. That's how my brain works. But I wanted to get into some politics, and they are funny, and people are funny because they are sad as well. But I like to bring hilariousness to politics because it's all funny to me. Here's my take. Everyone's lying. Can't trust anyone. I mean, come on. But I still want to get into some of these stories of our favorite guy, old Trumpster, and just his followers. They really do crack me up, but Trump is the most funny guy. He literally should have done stand-up. But let's get into, first let's do a zing from Trump, because he's the king of zinging people. So let's go.
Yeah, not like that. Last week, he's a weirdo, Mark Zuckerberg came to the White House, kissed my ass. Kissed my ass. Sure, I'd love to have dinner. I'd love to bring my lovely wife. All right, Mark, come on in. Sir, you're number one on Facebook. I'd like to congratulate you. Thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate it. Weirdo, you remember, but I never knew.
Trump, you gotta love him. Like, he does not mince words, which is like, that's what makes it hard to not believe the things he says, because he do not like hold back on stuff. So let's get into what's going on with him right now with this whole files and stuff.
Been a very bad few days for Donald Trump. First, pictures of his toilets with documents in them that he was trying to flush are circulated. Then the FBI raids his house. Then he's desperately looking for a criminal defense attorney. Then he shows up and does a deposition for the New York Attorney General and pleads the fifth multiple times, which he previously said only guilty people and the mob do. And then in the middle of all of it, inflation's down, wages are up, stock market's up, blockbuster jobs report, and Joe Biden gets the PAC Act signed. Not good for these right-wingers and very bad for Trump.
Trump looks like he's scrambling, but I think he's gonna skate out of this again. What do you guys think? I mean, Trump is like the king of skating out of trouble. So let's look into like the media and how much they all say the same thing. And let me know if you guys think they try to brainwash us.
Extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces. Plaguing our country, the sharing of biased,
False news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets without checking facts first. Unfortunately, members of their lives to push their own personal bias and agenda control This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
So what do you guys think? Did they just get a script and I mean, we all know that the news is scripted, but do we not also know that, like, we are fed a lot of information? I wonder about that, because a lot of people trust the news, stand on what they're saying, even though the news has had to come back several times and recant stories that they've had. But I just wonder what you guys think about that. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So let's get into some political conspiracy theories, because they are cool, and why people believe political conspiracy theories. All right, let's start.
Pay attention now, kiddos. It's not science, it's politics. I've been listening to this bullshit for 50 years. In the 60s, it was oil will be gone in 10 years. In the 70s, it was another ice age in 10 years. In the 80s, it was acid rain will destroy all the crops in 10 years. In the 90s, it was the ozone layer will be destroyed in 10 years. In the 2000s, it was the glaciers will all melt in 10 years. In the 2010s, it was the east and west coast will be underwater from rising sea levels in 10 years. None of this fear-mongering nonsense came true, but it did result in higher taxes every time.
What do you guys think? I mean, the media is full of fear-mongering, man. Like, yeah. Let's get into some JFK stories.
There's a reason John F. Kennedy was called America's Playboy president. He slept with just about every single woman in Hollywood, and sometimes it was interns, and most of his relationships were simply harmless. But in some cases, his affairs turned out to be national security disasters. Judith Campbell Exner not only had an affair with John F. Kennedy, but served as a mule transporting documents between him and famous mobster Sam Giancana. She said that one of the documents that she transported revealed a plot to kill Fidel Castro. Ellen Romesh. Not only was she a spy for East Germany, but even after it was revealed that she had communist ties, John F. Kennedy still saw her. Allegedly, this is the reason why she was sent out of the country. John F. Kennedy confided in Marilyn Monroe about his reluctancy to use nuclear weapons, which she revealed at a party in Mexico, which made its way to Moscow.
Talk about pillow talk, right? If you guys ever saw The Americans, I like that show, but it kind of like hinted on that. Like, one of the women were like sleeping with like people for secrets. I think that is a movie that should be made. You know, Hollywood likes to protect their faves. I do know that. Let's keep going.
Breaking down my conspiracy theory pyramid, part 1, starting with the bottom. Let's go. Actual conspiracies that happened, like MK Ultra. Like, they definitely tried mind controlling some people with some LSD. Didn't work. The FBI did spy on John Lennon because they thought he was anti-war. I mean, he was, but Big Tobacco knew that they were causing cancer and they lied about it. COINTELPRO was when the FBI illegally infiltrated and then discredited a bunch of political organizations that they deemed subversive, you know, like feminists and Black Power movements and Nation of Islam and socialists and communists. And last but not least, the Bohemian Club, where all the rich men get together and like talk about politics and business and like golf.
Short and sweet. Let's see what's in these Trump contents here.
What was in Donald Trump's personal safe? Stay with me because I'm getting ready to tell you. The original, unedited Epstein flight logs. A digital copy of Hunter Biden's laptop. Top secret files showing that the FBI and CIA know exactly who shot Kennedy. Proof that some of the companies that process DNA in order to tell you where your ancestry and family came from are actually fronts for biological weapons research. And yes, proof that there really are aliens in Area 51. A copy of a former president's birth certificate that may possibly show that they were born outside of the United States. And Anonymous the hacker, who is he? Well, Trump has proof. Government-funded task force, Black Ops, headed by Elvis and Tupac. Now, I'm fairly sure that at least one of the things I just told you is true. I mean, after all, what's the point in having a confidential informant in high places if you can't get this kind of dish? I mean, in all actuality, it probably doesn't matter what's in Donald Trump's safe because Democrats, you really don't care. You don't care if there's something there, if it's fabricated. All you care about is somehow, some way, they get Trump off the political chessboard. Guess what? Checkmate.
Interesting. So he pretty much lied about all the contents, but interesting. But yeah, I do agree with what he said, but Democrats do not only... both parties pick and choose who they want to run. A lot of people wanted Bernie to run, but we all know that Democrats did not want Bernie. So, you know, both sides pick and choose who they want. Let's keep going.
Chinese company Biden sold the oil to is connected to his son Hunter.
So this isn't quite as it's depicted to be. Keep in mind, multiple different things can be true, but that doesn't necessarily mean there's much connection there. This just isn't quite the smoking gun people think it is. For a few reasons, but first we need to keep one thing in mind. We fall into this illusion that oil is harvested and traded by nations themselves, kind of like a resource in a board game. In reality, it's a global market. Multiple factors interact with each other to affect supply and demand, and they're traded and sold by private companies. So theoretically, releasing oil from the strategic reserves can lower prices, even if some of that oil goes overseas. Because now one country doesn't have to buy a certain thing from here, and there's a whole ripple effect. The problem is, this arguably won't affect much because it's not that much in the grand scheme of things, but also because it's crude oil. It still needs to be refined, and the problem we're having right now is that our refineries are already maxed out. Not necessarily that there's not enough crude oil. So it may still help, its impact is questionable, but that's besides the point. Additionally, he did not release 5 million, he released 30 million. 5 million is what ended up going overseas, but not even all to China. A lot of it went to places like Europe and Saudi Arabia. They also don't control where it goes. They release contracts, companies can bid for those, and they have to sell it to the highest bidder. One of the companies, which is the one in question, is Unipec America. They are the American trading wing of Sinopec, which is a Chinese oil company run by the government. Now, as you can see, only about 1 million of the 30 ended up going to China via this manner. And Unipec is technically a private company, so the government can't tell it not to export overseas, because we also repealed the law preventing that in 2015. Now, separately, Hunter Biden's private equity firm, which invests in companies and manages assets, went in on a partnership with a Chinese firm to create a joint subsidiary called BHR Partners. Investment companies will often create subsidiaries to focus on specific sectors, and this one was primarily created to invest capital into Sinopec marketing. That's the connection to Unipec because of Sinopec. Now, Hunter Biden did sit on the board of BHR Partners, but he supposedly divested his interest in it when Biden became president. So you can see there's a lot of loose connections, not a lot of causation or intent. I see a lot in the right-wing media misconstruing facts to make it look like some grand scheme. Even if it was, it's not a very good one. Now, there is one thing that could be seen as corruption in and of itself. In 2021, Hunter's lawyers said that he no longer holds interest in BHR. In March, Chinese records show that he might still have connections. It could be because they hadn't updated things yet, but regardless, we still don't have much proof that he's fully left. That in and of itself could be corrupt.
Well, we all know that both the Trump and Biden, all the families, kids have some kind of prestigious job. I mean, these rich people don't take these government jobs to not get richer. Like, unfortunately, that's the life we have in government these days. So, let's talk about some Epstein stuff.
For the hedgerow mega homes they're buying with all that hedge fund cash, but not quite as much as financier Jeffrey Epstein. Jeff was a high school math teacher until he traded his blackboard for the big board in 1976, eventually launching his own exclusive finance firm for billionaire clients. But he just couldn't keep out of the classroom. So when he was shopping for a new house, he bought himself an entire schoolhouse and transformed it into the largest single residence in all of Manhattan at a whopping 51,000 square feet.
Oh, yeah.
The school cost about $20 million, and he's dropped $10 million just renovating it.
It has incredible bells and whistles, closed-circuit televisions, a heated sidewalk out front, so the snow melts.
But only one man truly rules the Wall Street skies. Because for former school teacher turned billionaire Jeffrey Epstein, one private plane won't do. He's got a small fleet. A Gulfstream 4, a Cessna, and a Boeing 727 with, of course, an in-flight trading room.
He has a Boeing 727. I'm just wondering now, what do you need a commercial-size airliner for?
Believe us, it comes in handy when you've got powerful friends to fly around. When Bill Clinton organized a week-long tour of Africa in 2002, Jeff gave him a ride in his personal 727 and took actors Kevin Spacey and Chris Tucker along for the trip.
Now, for former President Clinton, it was a chance to investigate the problems of AIDS in Africa, and for Epstein, it was a chance to hang out with some of his big-shot friends.
Jet-setting with Bill, all in a day's work for Wall Street moguls. Wall Street wunderkind Jeffrey Epstein digs science. But he doesn't just have his own chemistry set in the basement. To satisfy his inner Einstein, Jeff's got his own staff of world-class scientists. And he gives them $20 million a year to do whatever experiments they want. Hit it!
Jeffrey Epstein was actually once a math teacher, but he's so interested in math and science that he has a team of scientists that he funds. You know, they'll just say there's something that they want to study, and he just writes a check.
The platoon of scientists that Epstein has aren't just guys off the street. He's got a Nobel Prize winner, a professor at Harvard.
Yo, that is wild. Like, the whole thing is wild. Like, I didn't even know he used to be a math teacher. And the fact that this is how he got started, and the science and the labs and the planes. There's so you have to ask yourself, why is so much information suppressed about him? Where is this list? And why does like, where did all his money go? Where did all his assets go? Like, this is, I don't know, I don't know. This is one that's very puzzling to me. And it's protected. I think that's the one thing that unites Republicans and Democrats, because both sides were hanging out with Epstein, and it's protected so well, dude. I don't know. So we all know Trump supporters are very loyal to him, and I'm just gonna play some stories and interviews of them because I find them very hilarious and very hypocritical, funny, blah, blah, blah. So let's get started.
More American than jumping out of a plane with an American flag strapped to you. So let's make sure the flag doesn't touch the ground here at the Trump golf course. That would be a desecration of the flag. See, he's landing. He's going to land. Flag's on the ground. American flag's on the ground. Okay. There's desecration of the flag here at the Trump golf course. That's really fucked up. They really don't give a fuck about our troops.
Look, I'm here today with a word of hope and a word of encouragement.
Donald Trump said that Ted Cruz's dad killed JFK. He said that Ted Cruz's dad killed JFK. You can read about it in the paper.
Crazy Lee Harvey Oswald having breakfast. Now, Ted never denied that it was his father.
Hey, you can read about it in the paper.
Yeah, you should say it to my dad. That'd be even more dangerous.
Are you saying that Donald Trump is lying?
Trump, I mean, is Trump lying, Ted Cruz? I don't know. Trump, people don't ever think he's lying, so, but yet, people still follow Ted Cruz. Let's get to the next one.
AOC, all of her squad, I mean, they all need to be squashed. Bernie, come on. Maxine Waters, really? Really?
But at the end of the day, good vibes.
Let's go,
That was a good vibes rally.
Do you think Hillary Clinton should have been charged for treason?
Oh, definitely, yeah. But the Clinton clan will cover them no matter what happens.
And if Trump had found that he had the classified documents, would you want to charge him with treason?
No, negative. No, I would not.
But if he did the same thing that with Hillary, would you want him to be charged?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay. But her, she could go treason, maybe potentially die. Him, if he did the same thing, no treason.
Because Trump is a patriot, Hillary is not.
Loyalist or not?
You're saying that in the 2020 election, a lot of the evidence is buried.
Yeah, I believe that, totally.
And we may never know where it went.
We will ever know. We won't know a lot of stuff, actually.
Yeah. And what are some of those things that you feel lead you to believe that there's this hidden evidence out there?
I'm not exactly sure how to explain that.
The news told her.
What he said the other day was beyond absurd. And I'm just wondering, at what point do we let it go?
Talk about Biden?
Yes, when he's calling Americans names. We see what happened after Corona. They saw coming after Chinese people, thinking that they had something to do with the China virus. So people are very influenced very easily. Now you're going to...
You said that people are coming after Chinese people...
Like in New York and stuff like that, you know,
because of the... You said the China virus?
Well, because you know how much in the media they amped it up. All right.
But so do you think that isn't calling it the China virus kind of like a racist way to talk about it?
No, because that was what Trump said. When they asked him what he called the China virus, he said because it came from China.
Right, but it's like kind of putting it on the groups of people, exactly what you said you didn't like. No?
What I'm trying to say is this, all right?
Sure.
All right. When people are very susceptible to believing things, okay, they take it in.
I wonder if these people ever watch back these interviews and be like, what was I saying? Or do they continue to stand on it? Here's my take. We are all unaware of what the government is doing. We can speculate, we can think, we can run our wild stories, but at the end of the day, it's way bigger than any of us think. So I say this, don't rack your brain over this stuff. Take care of your families. Make sure that they're taken care of and let God handle the rest, honestly. Because if you try to pick a side or go to bat for somebody that you think is your trustworthy guy, I guarantee you're going to find out that you didn't know that person so well. And that's all the way up to politics to probably your brother or your cousin. So that is my take. Again, these are all alleged conspiracies. You guys enjoy your night and have a good one. F for Family is signing off.